Hey, good morning, Internet. Welcome, my Looper fans, fellow aliens, and the like. We're going to go over the Bugmeister again. Here she is. And today's video is just going to focus on the I/O structure. Inputs and outputs. A lot of questions on the Internet, a lot of questions on YouTube. How do you set one of these up for guitar, keyboards, microphones, phantom mic power? Can I stick the guitar and the mic? All these kinds of questions. So let's start going over the back of the box. And the other questions come up. Gee, can I power this with some other wall wart or something? Well, got to be careful. This thing here is, as you can see, outside's hot. I don't know why they do that, but the so it's a exterior 9 volts. Inside tube is ground. Nine volts, 2 amps. Coming on. Oh, I wanted to show you to the rev number, but let's go over that in a second. Let it boot up first. Takes a long time to boot with the latest software. I just checked the Boss site. They're still only on rev 1.21, which has improved a lot of the problems they had, but it's not a complete solution yet. It's locked up a couple times on me. Okay, so to get to the rev software rev, hold the menu button, push the power button. There you go. Look at that. 1.21. So that's the latest and greatest, folks. If you haven't done that yet, when you buy one of these, check that. Hold the menu, turn it on. If it's not 1.21, you gotta get one of these. So it's one of those on one end. Plugs in right there next to the power button. Shutting down. I hit the power button when I plug it in. So let's go back to running it. So basically you got 2 mics and 2 instruments, left and the right, and instrument 2 left and the right. You got a main out. You got subs out, which is nice. I'll show you what you can do with that. You got a headset out, headphones. And then you get your control expression pedals and your MIDI. Not using the MIDI at the moment, but I think it will plan to. I saw somebody on the web showing you how to use a clock out to drive a drum machine or sequencers and things like that. So we'll be using that. I do have 3 different types of foot switches hooked up, and I guess you can always get a more complex foot switch and go in through the MIDI, and you have to update the chip. I think there's a Behringer box, so you just do a chip upgrade. Okay, so let's come over here to the left. It's the microphones. You can put guitars and such into a mic, but you need something like this. This is a DI box. It's called direct input box. So you take a high impedance and you put it through. There's all that's in this box is a transformer. It's amazing they charge so much for these, but I mean this thing's bulletproof. You can get different versions of them. And put your guitar in, or keyboard, or whatever if you want, and then you allows you to use the microphone. So I have a bass guitar into that. Let's see if it comes in the picture. So I use a little Steinberg here. It's a beautiful thing. No headstock. The tuners are down there, but it's real nice. And then I put it through a linear power booster. Let's get a little more oomph. And goes into the direct box. Direct box goes in the microphone. I was using a second mic input, but I moved that over to the mixer so you can have a second mic here. And then the next 2 are guitar, and they are out of the Zoom I have over there. See, I've got a MS-70 CDR Zoom. So guitar goes in here, comes out stereo. Stereo goes into instrument 2, I believe. So instrument 1 is the motif. So I have a motif rack. Okay, so the motif rack, go over here, down there, it comes out of a mini merger. The Korg drives it, the merger, and one of these fantastic foot pedals from Studio Logic. I'm just using it as a drum right now. I have this box here that controls all the different patches on my MIDI keyboards. I'll show that. I'll do a demo on that separately. That thing's fantastic. It allows you to do quick parameter changes without bending over and trying to read that little screen. It's usually lower down on the stage, so if you're playing live, you can do updates pretty quick. So I'm trying to use a stand here. I had some folks on the internet who probably didn't play enough cassette growing up, and they didn't like all the moving the cabin around. So, okay, inputs 1, input 2, mic 1, mic 2, instruments. Like I said, we have guitar, and we have keyboard. So the trick here, you go to menu, and you go to input, and you go to setup, and there's just tons of menu diving, as they say. But if you have a mic, like condenser mic or headset mic, like one of these, I like to use these headset mics, they need phantom power. So there's a on-off on the phantom power. So when I use the direct box, I'm not using phantom power, so I have that off. But you can see how each one of these toggles the selections. And then my 2 instrument inputs, one's the guitar, one's the keyboard with motif. You can set up whether it's instrument or it's a line, that kind of a thing. So like I'll show you, the Zoom has a pretty high different output impedance, and that matches. You gotta pay attention to the settings on this beast. But so you got this, there's 2 books. There's Loop Station Parameter Guide, that's really got everything in it, and then there's the Loop Station I don't know what you call this one. It's a how-to. It's not really helpful owner's manual, but it does get into the I/O specs, so you have to pay attention to that. So the input levels for instruments, they have that down here. Input impedance for the instruments, it's 1 meg or 25K. It's selectable, and then you have the microphone input and that kind of a thing. So that's a much different impedance, and it's a much lower gain on it. See, that's the problem. People say, I can't hear my mic when I plug it in, or I can't hear my guitar. Well, that's why the Limiting Power Booster brings it up a little bit. But the transformer does help balance things, puts it to the right impedance, and then you can bring it up a little bit. So like if you say, you can hear that instrument. So if the instrument's more like a guitar, you can look this stuff up. I think Sweetwater has a good page on all the different definitions of what a mic is, an instrument is, and a line. So your keyboards are basically in line outputs. The Zoom box is line output. Instrument output would be like if you plugged a guitar straight in, you put it on an instrument. And then the mic, basically all the parameters you have there for phantom power or not phantom power, and that's it. And then you have the stereo link. See, it's just again menu diving, hit the right button. You can make your instrument stereo, which I like because I have a left and a right on both the guitar output from the sound effects and from the motif, and I have those on. You can see how that toggles. And then you have this button, and this basically, if you didn't want to have these setups for all your memory, you can decide whether it's a system default or if it's each patch, each saved memory location has this setup. I don't think you're going to be changing your I/O between different patches or memory configurations, so I leave it on system. So that's that. You have your EQ, very powerful, so you can set your mic EQ, you can set up the gain, you can set up, it's just like having a graphic equalizer. Again, it's very powerful. You cut off, and then you can do that for each mic. You can do that, you have to exit each mic, and then you can also do it for your instruments. I try to keep my instruments, I post-processing the EQ on those so I don't put anything on it with the box. So I just have a clean output. And then the next thing, which is real handy, let's see, let's exit that, is dynamics. So you can put a compressor on your mics. A lot of people are big on that. And you can put like a noise gate. So back in the day, I used to have this noise gate on an old analog mono synthesizer I built with Pi, and it was hilariously noisy. So I'd set that thing up so if there's no sound coming out of the synth, it was deadly quiet. So let's example how that works. Let's go back here and mess up the input on my instrument. Let's say that I don't have an instrument coming in, I have guitar. You can hear that buzz, right? So let's go over here. That's on instrument 2. Let's go back to dynamics. Oops, menu. Again, menu diving. Output. Nope, that's not it. That's different. We're going to have to go over that in a second. Menu diving. Nope. Input. Okay, let's go back to input. So you hit the button. It is not intuitive. I don't find it intuitive. You hit the button under the window to get to these further, deeper windows. So watch this. Menu. Push input. Now I can see dynamics. So let's go over to instrument 2. And like I said, it's a noise gate. Listen. I can completely cancel out, but still hear the guitar. It's like a noise gate. So that's kind of cool, right? Well, that's my drums. So let's go back and fix that input. So that noise, like I said, is because I'm not matching the input impedance that it's set up for. I've got it out of the zoom. I'm going in as a lower gain signal. That's why I have an instrument on it. And instrument is for a lower gain, and when you put something in a higher gain, you get a lot of noise. So you want to use a line for keyboards, effect boxes, all the above, drum machines, all that. Microphones, you basically only have, whether you have phantom power or not. So your condenser mics need phantom power. SM57s, 58, you don't. So click the phantom power off. Direct box, you don't. Again, click the phantom power off. Okay, so the last thing I want to get into here is output routing. It's very cool. So routing lets you steer, basically, inputs to outputs. So let's take a look at the input. So here's my main out, which is going to, if I swing this around again, I've had some complaints that I get too much motion sickness, so I use the Yamaha as my mix down deck. I want to put out the mics. They're routing off the main. See this tiny little main down here? This is, you got to read details into this. And then instrument 1, but not instrument 2. So guitar is not coming out the main. And the reason I do that, and this allows you to do different things, like if you had different mixers or different DAWs. So I have this Kai Pro DAW, and I put my guitar out of the boss directly into 2 channels, because when I use I use say Reaper as my DAW software, minimize that, I can direct the channel out of the Kai that is just the guitar. You can see that view me there, and then the other 2 is everything else, like my voice and my keyboards and my drum machine. It's not really a drum machine, but it's a rack effects from the motif. So how you do that, so basically main is just got microphones and motif. So let's get out of there and go back to routing and scroll across. So there's your subs. You have 2 subs out, sub 1 and sub 2. So what I've done is I basically turned off the microphones, the keyboard, and I turned on my instrument, which happens to be the guitar. And then I bring that on my sub 2. Sub 2 goes straight into 2 direct channels over here on the Kai box. The Kai box is pretty cool DAW. It does 96 kilohertz, which is decent. You're not going to find a lot of mixers even today that do that. So Unless you have FireWire. I have a Mackie that's FireWire that does that, but then you got to get through all the FireWire interfaces, and PCs don't support it anymore. They used to. So there you go. There's a quick overview. Didn't get too much in the controls of the foot switches. You can do a quick overview on that, but again, go to the menu. Let's see, let's go all the way out. This thing is tons of menu diving. Setup, inputs, outputs, mixer, control function. So again, let me go back up. You got to play with this a long time. So this is what it looks like when you turn it on. Hit the menu. You know, where's my foot switches? Well, they're buried. They're under control. So you hit the right button to get over to this window. You hit the control function, and you still don't see them. You hit the control express function. Ah, there they are. So there's 4 inputs. Oops. Cool. Stop that. As you can see, that fired it off. That's pretty funny. And that's not the function I had dialed in either, by the way. But all right, so let's get back over there. Control function, control express, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me unhook this again. Show you the foot switches I've got set up. So basically, I'm not a fan of the FS6 because it's powered, and I always forget to unplug that thing. There is a light, but you still forget. I like the FS5Us. Get 2 of those, and get yourself a cable. Let me see if I got the cable. Here it is. So you get one of these with a stereo type of jack on it, and then you get a splitter down at this end, and you can plug each one of your 5Us in and not eat batteries. So you can see I'm slowly switching over. But so 3, I've got that controlling track 1. So it's a start, record, play, and a stop. And this is not super intuitive either, but you just dial this around, you get a gazillion different options. I was looking for like, oh, can I start, stop the next track? And I was going to assign that to my 3rd foot switch, but the way they have this set up is basically each track has to be from a control function. So first button's going to deal with track 1. See, track 1 light. I'm going to hold it and it'll clear it. Second button's going to deal with track 2. Hold it, clear it. And then the way you do that. Oops, come on. Maybe I'm not set up to clear, but let me get out. You can always hold it here to clear it too, but here's track 2. Oh, see, I don't have it for clear hold. So, track 2 dynamics. Oh, you gotta get the right button. See, control function. So you go back to finding different tracks. There's a million functions. There's track 5. So you could put 5 switches. Well, you can't really get 5 in here. You get 4 in here. But you could assign 4 of them. So I do have a video on setting this up. Let's go back to the beginning of track 2. Track 2. All right, so here comes track 2, the start of track 2. You can do record play, you can do undo, you can do stop. That's probably a good one to do. So when I hit the button, it starts, hold the button. Should clear it. And then hit the button, it stops. Well, it's not really doing that, isn't it? But let's see. Let's get that working again. As you can see, lots of fun. Oh, that's for control 4. So control 3, you have to be careful. It's good that I'm showing you this. Control 1 for button B is control 3, and that turns on record play, stop, undo. All right, there it goes. See? Hold it. It's cleared. Get out. Go to 4. That one is track 2. Chord, play, stop, undo. Start, stop, hold, see, clear. There it goes. Now, get out of that. And then I put the new switch, I think it's on 1. And that's going to be track 3. And there you go. Track 3. Start, stop, hold. Never works the way it's supposed to. But stop 2. Let's see. Stop 3. Stop 1. Track 3. You gotta get stop 3 to play to stop it. And then hold. There it goes. See, there's a stop 3. They've made this so powerful that it is also very easy to not get exactly what you think you got. So, in review, 4 control functions, up to 4 foot switches. Each one has a gazillion options. You don't use these other knobs. You only use this knob to get to those options. So control 1. Well, that was the last switch of my string of switches. I wanted to control track 3, and I wanted this to a start, but I don't want it to play 4. I want it to deal with track 3. Track 3, record, play 3. So that's all going to be track 3, stop, start, record. Again, very, very powerful, but also very, very, if you don't pay close attention to what's going on with the buttons, you don't get what you think you got. So like that, track 1, record, play 1. And then you want to do, no, I don't want to do play 2. I want to just play 1. So chord, play 1. Let's see if we can get back to track 1, play, stop, undo. So you can control the other tracks from the one button, but it depends on what options you're pulling up here with this menu. But there you go. So very, very powerful. But undo. I want to just deal with undo. There's your undo. But it's undoing the other ones, the other tracks. And if you want to clear, you can have it do that. So, again, it depends on how you set up your switches and how you want to use it. But that's the bulk of the I/O discussion. So, yes, you can put guitars into the mics. Yes, you need a direct box. Yes, you can route all kinds of different directions between your mains and your subs, which is handy depending on what you have for a DAW and a mixer. And you can power phantom mics, and you can do EQ on each of those inputs, and you can do noise gating on each one of those inputs and different dynamics and compression. And that's basically the I/O structure of this beast. So until the next demo, leave it at that. Plenty to chew on here. Thank you. See you next time. You'll like and subscribe if you found this helpful. And other folks that are using these things, please put your information out there. We can help each other out on this, because this stuff is takes a while to get used to. There's just so many deep menus on this thing. Very powerful, but it's not all in the book. So have a good day.